in JavaScript, we can loop through an object using a forin loop, which is okay if we have just one, but if we have nested loops for nested objects, the code can get a little bit hard to read. To solve this readability issue, we can use this utility function. I will show you an example. Let's say we have an object called shape. It has some properties like name, which is a string, width and height, which are decimal numbers, and a nested object called position, which has x and y properties, which are decimals as well. Now let's say we want to round these decimal values. What we can do is use our utility function for that. So let's call the function here. The first parameter that it takes is the object we want to loop in, which is shape object here, and the second parameter is a callback function. This is where we will write our code to round the decimals. Now this callback has a few parameters that we can use inside of the function. First is key name, which is the current property the loop is on. Second is key value, the value of the key name, the object itself, and a status object which contains some information like level. For now, let's just log the key name and key value and run the code. As you can see, we got the name, width, height and position, as well as x and y properties that are inside the nested objects, because this function not only loops through the main object but also through any nested objects inside the main object, so we don't have to use a nested foreign loop. Now let's round the decimals in here. We will use the math.floor method and pass the key value to round it. Then we will assign the value to the current property using object key name. Now we also have string value here, the name property. We don't want to pass that in floor method, so we will wrap this line inside of an if statement, which will check the type of the value. If it's a number, then round it using the floor method. Now let's log the object properties and values and run the code. As you can see, it has rounded all the decimal values even in the nested objects. Now let's see what status is. It's an object that can contain some information about the current loop iteration. I have only one property here, which is level. You can add more as per your preference or requirement. The level here tells you how many level deep the current object is nested. For example, the position is at level 2 as it's nested inside the top level object. If we had another object inside the position object, then that object would be at level 3. Let me log the level and show you. So this shows level 1 3 times for these values and level 2 for the x and y properties inside the nested position object. Let's add one more log with if statement. If level equals to 2, then log nested object. So it logs the string nested object position 2 times here at the end with the x and y value. So that's how you can use this loop object function instead of nested foreign loops. So this is the code of this loop object function. You can copy and use it. I will explain how this works in another video. So I hope it helped you, and thanks for watching.